What do you do when you see a homeless person? Do you give them money, food, clothes, a blanket? Are you tired of seeing panhandlers in tent-lined streets? I think everyone is thinking the same thing. Why can't someone do something about this situation? I have felt all of these things and so much more from a personal perspective. I believe that we should address homelessness with all-in-one support services at the point of intervention with the intention of addressing the root causes of mental illness, addiction, and poverty with the use of current laws. The ACLU will argue that we cannot infringe on people's constitutional rights. Elisa Della Piana, legal director at the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights of the San Francisco Bay Area, says all people, including the homeless, have the right to the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable seizure of property, and the 14th Amendment's protection against deprivation of property without due process. This may be the case. But I think that there is a way of addressing these situations without taking away one's constitutional rights. In many years of dealing and coping with a schizophrenic mother who became homeless for many years, I witnessed the treatment she received from police officers, mental health institutions, emergency rooms, hotel auditors, and retail personnel. All of these people were frustrated with her because they didn't know what was wrong with her, they didn't know what to do with her, and they would just pass her along to the next person. That is just an example of one person in the Bay Area. According to the Alameda County Homeless Count and Survey Comprehensive Report of 2019, there are 8,022 homeless people in Alameda County. In this speech, I will be addressing how I feel we should treat homelessness with the intention of going after the root cause of mental illness, addiction, and poverty with the use of our current laws. First, we will look at the disease of mental illness. This could include depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, manic, addiction, and many more states. These states of illness can cause one not to be able to care for themselves. I think that if you are sleeping on the street without proper hygiene and proper nourishment, then you are a danger to yourself and can become a danger to others out of desperation. This is even exacerbated when children are in tow. In Alameda County, there is a section of the Welfare and Institution Codes 5150 that states a person can be held against their will in a psychiatric facility if they meet at least one of the three basic criteria. Person is gravely disabled, person is a danger to self, or person is a danger to others. What I propose is that our all-in-one support services intervention team be able to arrest these individuals with this code, not as to criminalize their situation, but use the law as a starting point to remove people with their belongings to a safe intervention location with a highly experienced team that can evaluate and put a plan together for all things, including mental health, housing, medical, food, storage, with an extended plan for probationary period after sufficient leveling off. We also would like to include the family members at this point who have been struggling to get their loved ones off the street. Now we will look at addiction. Just like mental illness, addiction can be a crime. It is against the law to use many drugs, meth, crack, heroin, illegal prescriptions. Often drug addicts can be very violent and desperate for money, committing crimes, and they are under influence of drugs. We should use these laws in place to arrest them with the 5150 code. Just like mental illness, the team would evaluate them and then send them to a new facility that I propose that we put a wing at the Santa Rita jail. This location would be a wing at the jail of like a safe hospital-like location required for drug addicts to detox and rehabilitate. The way I propose we have room for these individuals is by releasing low-level marijuana incarcerations that fill our system now. Because marijuana is no longer illegal in California, we can release these people to a probationary period to re-enter society. This would open the space for a rehab facility, and there would be no income loss for the California state prison system. Also, California would be paying about the same to house low-level marijuana offenders as it would to spend money on rehabilitation costs. I believe this idea would actually lower crime and violence and get people off the street for good. After the prescribed rehabilitation, people would continue with the efforts for probation, just like anyone else re-entering society, and we also want to include family members in that process. The next topic, unlike the two previous, is poverty. We just live in the most expensive place in the country. According to Scott Cohen and CNBC, America's 10 most expensive states to live in 2019, we ranked number 2, behind Hawaii. with an average home price in San Francisco Bay Area of $1,243,000. There are many people in the San Francisco Bay Area living paycheck to paycheck. Many of them are service workers, myself included. The rents are so high in the Bay Area that people are working 2 and 3 jobs just to make rent. In the recent study, Slide Hustle Survey, Bankrate reported that 38% of those surveyed say they need the dough to make ends meet. We should all be able to live in a safe and humane life if we're working a full-time job. But with average rents around $2,500 for a 2-bedroom apartment, it's very hard to afford anything else. You're just one paycheck away from being homeless. You can't afford food or medical or heat. I believe we treat it the same, though. If you're homeless, living on the streets, you can become desperate and dangerous to somebody else. I say again that we use the law code of 5150 to get people off the street and all of their belongings with them, to go to an evaluation center where a team is waiting to facilitate programs with financial aid, food stamps, Medi-Cal, housing vouchers, and again, a probationary period to follow up after your evaluation. There are many properties throughout the Bay Area that can be reconfigured into low-income housing and families that people and families can benefit from. They are owned by local governments, and I believe that there are plenty of government sites existing, hospitals, where we can put transitional housing, FEMA-type trailers. For example, Fairmont Hospital has an underutilized parking lot, and we could fit probably 20 FEMA trailers on that parking lot. It would not infringe on neighbors, and it's already a hospital site that's being used to treat people and social services, sheriff's departments down the road. In fact, your whole team and your whole stage strategy could be there as a plan. And as always, we want to include family members in this. In closing, now that we've discussed some of the roots of homelessness, I think we should treat people with the utmost respect. I think that if you're mentally ill, addicted to drugs, and you're a danger to yourself or others, or if you're just not making it week to week, and we should be treating you as such and provide the best services to help you get back and enter into society. We will not arrest and throw you in jail, but we will facilitate the mental illness treatment, rehabilitation program, or transitional living that you might require, with continued aftercare and safety and health for health and success. I believe that if we offer people a safe and humane way to regain their lives, they will gladly accept this. And if it's offered, it's a good roadmap. This will help society as a whole and establish a roadmap to end the chaos that is homelessness today.